So, another podcast with
Back
Mr.
here with the
Bennett.
main man, the bagger.
And I suppose it's one of those that when you talk about fishing and you talk about match fishing, there's a lot of people that just say, oh, it's all luck, there's no skill involved. And
I say it to him and Jamie all the time, we're just lucky. When everyone asks me, how good are they? I'm like, no, we're just really lucky.
pretty much.
Drawbacks.
But I think there's definitely a bit of both involved. And I suppose that was a route we wanted to go down with this one, is sort of picking out a few matches that you've been in and won or framed in, whatever it might be, picking a few that have probably come down to a bit of luck, although there's probably a bit of skill involved as well, and then others where it might not even be a match that you've won, or where you just feel like that was the best performance you could have done on that peg on that day, sort of thing.
Yeah, but not necessarily like anything come from it.
Yeah, like skill and luck obviously plays a massive part.
Yeah, of course.
Like in fishing, luck is really important. Not so much luck. Well, yeah, it is luck because it's that bit. But you can't just say, "Well, I drew rubbish." Do you know what I mean? Like,
you want to call your peg like I do.
Yeah, I know.
You did a lot
of luck last week when you beat me.
Shall we talk through the Bradshaw situation quickly?
Like, I call my peg pretty much every single day. I didn't know the pegs. Andy told me, like, you want this particular peg on Lake 3? Right, peg 3? Yeah, so in go, peg 3. Then he says, right, you want anywhere from, 20 to 26 or 24 to 26? I'm like, right, 24 will do. Straight in, 24. And then the one that I really wanted on, the best lake we've gone to last day, Lake 2, says, right, you definitely want peg 9. Like, peg 9. So I've gone in, peg 9. Innit? But
I drew
it
10 and had to watch you.
Oh, mate, it's just one of them things. But, that's where the luck element comes into it in the fishing, and obviously in the drawback.
You get the chance, but it's like, you've got to get them chances and you've got to fish well.
Yeah.
Sometimes, especially at like the top level of any sport, you need chances.
So the likes of you don't feel pressure. You're ice cool under pressure.
Yeah,
but I think for other anglers, though, they'll feel the pressure as well, wouldn't
yeah,
they?
that comes with experience. I used to feel the pressure. I remember my first ever final, I got in down at Whiteacres and I went to cast out at the start. Yeah, Part D. And I went to cast out at the start and I'm like...
I remember that.
I'm almost shaking as I'm casting in. I was like, bloody hell, like, caught my first fish and I forgot. And that's not even a high pressure situation really, because there's no crowds or anything. But now, like, when you've done something for a while, it becomes the norm. It's a bit like filming on camera. Some people really struggle to talk.
Even just like putting a phone in front of someone, it's hard to talk.
And it's like, yeah. So once you get used to it, it becomes second nature then. Yeah. Like, you forget the camera's there, you forget you're talking to however many thousands.
You can't forget Richard's there, you know what I mean?
But you forget how many other people on the other side of the camera.
Yeah.
But like, you get used to them situations. And obviously that's a big advantage because you're thinking straight and stuff like that. But going back to luck and skill, obviously you've got to draw well.
Yeah.
I've had festivals like on here when I won the Pole Masters the second time. I beat Des by 2 ounces. That week I fished. He
Sorry, Des.
Did he moan a bit?
And but that week I fished terrible really. I got beat off the next peg on I were on 14 and Andy Bailey was on 16, but luckily he wanted my section. So I won the section and he won the section.
Right.
And that day I was fishing maggot shallow and I couldn't catch nothing, and then it absolutely hammered down with rain and all my maggots were crawling out my tubs. So I went to the van and got casters and started emptying it shallow. Now I knew Andy was fishing casters, but I just put it down to, well, he's on a better peg than me, so I don't have to worry about him. He's not in my section. As soon as I switched to casters, I started emptying it. And I thought, you idiot, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was fishing the wrong bait.
Yeah.
And the rain forced me to do it. And I ended up with 101
So
pound.
if that rain hadn't forced you to do it and you'd carried on with maggots, would you have got your section?
No, I'd have been second, definitely.
Right.
Mike Gallimore had 99
Come on,
pound.
Gally. Right.
And I had 102. And I had about 70 in the last 2 hours when the rain come. And so that was a big slice of luck.
Yeah.
And then
have you told Des all this? Yeah.
No. And then
sorry, Des.
Dislike.
Sorry, and then I didn't fish brilliant on one of the other days and I won my section. I think I drew a good peg, but I only just won my section. The year before I felt like I fished really well and I was like really happy and I thought, yeah, I deserve to win that. The year after I thought, I was lucky there, do you know what I mean? And then I've had that loads of times, like where you need that slice of luck. But I think sometimes as well you create your own luck. You know, when I won Whiteacres Festival, I'd never won a Whiteacres Festival. I'd been within, say, a pound about 7 or 8 times. I thought, I'm never going to win one.
I remember, mate.
And then I won my first one, and then the week after I won the next one.
Kept on going then, didn't it? Yeah.
And the week after, I foul-hooked a carp, very last chuck, with like, I played it after time, won my section by like £4, and the carp was about £8. Foul-hooked it, I remember, because John Wingchuck, it was either filming me or took a picture or something, and I ended up beating Paul on weight. But if I hadn't netted that carp, I'd have been second and he'd have won it. So I got back to back, whereas it was just like, it was just meant to be, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
I felt like I fished well that day though, but if that float would have never gone under with 40 seconds to go, I wouldn't have won.
Yeah.
So you can't control that, but because like I caught 3 decent carp on my short pole line, but I think I created my luck because I come there and I fed it nice all day and I got 3 bites. Yes, one was foul-hooked, but if I'd have like bottled it and thought, no, I'll just stay out long and fish for bites rather than trying to win. You know, I'd give myself a chance of winning.
It's that mentality you're saying, that winning mentality, isn't it? You know what I mean?
I had £48 and I caught 3 for £28.
Brilliant.
Short. So like over half my weight because I dropped in short. But what I could have done is just settled for second in the section.
Yeah.
And then thought, oh, why did I drop in there? And ended up third.
Yeah.
But it was like, well, I can only win if I win my section. So I've got to claw this back.
Try and force it.
So you create your own luck sometimes.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's where I think that's the skill side of it. But then you need that luck. If your float don't go under, there's nothing you can do about it.
No.
So I think there's a massive part of luck. You know, I've won things by like an ounce in the past. I've been beaten by a few ounces in the past.
Yeah.
But I think consistency, you know,
I think
the main thing with me is consistency.
Consistency for me, like, obviously really consistent at Whiteacres, but Westwood, you're like the most consistent performer at Westwood. Is ridiculous, your record on there, doesn't it?
Yeah, like, I mean, festival records, without blowing smoke up my bum, do you know what I mean? Like, the last 4 years, I think there's only 3 festivals that I've fished. 2 festivals that I've fished. 2 it is, Woodlands, and I can't remember the other one. I think it might have been the Pole Masters here, a year or 2 years ago. But whatever it was, 2 festivals that I've not framed in. Like this year, every festival I've fished, I've framed in. I might have only won 1 or 2, but it's so hard to win.
Yeah.
Like, it's so hard to win stuff. You need that slice of luck. You have to draw the right peg.
Yeah.
Then you've got to have the ability to catch them. But if you're consistent and you're constantly in the frame, I think that's good. Like, if you're up and down,
yeah, it speaks volumes,
you're not as consistent, then I just measure myself on consistency, because I know sometimes I can fish my heart out and just not have the set of pegs to win.
Yeah.
I remember last November, Christian beat me at Westwood. I fished 3 perfect days, but he drew on Swallow and I drew on another lake or whatever it was, and he had a much bigger weight, so he won on weight. So I had, say,
same points, obviously.
Same points, or whatever it was.
Can't do out about that.
Yeah, and it's just like, well, I weren't given the opportunity to win.
Yeah.
But I can't do any more than what I did.
Yeah.
But then on the other side, if you're getting the pegs and you're not catching them, that's probably when it starts to hurt more, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
You can't just... Some people blame it on luck, oh, well, I drew rubbish, blah, blah, blah. But then you've got to analyse your performance, and that's how you improve, is obviously you go, nah, I weren't good enough, should have caught more. Sometimes you can win a festival and be rubbish, and sometimes you won't win a festival and you could be really good all week, or feel like you fish really good all week.
Okay then, you lovely lot. So we've got brand new merch in stock for you all. We've got new caps, new hoodies and new t-shirt. Check out the website, it's www.winningways.shop. Yeah, definitely.
You must have some luck stories somewhere.
Some luck stories?
Like what's the most random way you've won a match, or most lucky way?
I
feel it's going to be...
Probably last week when he drew that fly back.
Throwback. Yeah, that's it. Set 2 rods up, away we go. You put me on the spot. We're not on about me, Richard. I don't know, mate. Look.
I've had so much luck in the past in terms of like 1 fish here, pound there. When you look back, it's like, yeah, I think everybody has. Like, even take the fight. Let's have a look at the finals this year. Like, Maver matched this. Sam Brown's peg that he won off. Nobody. That peg went just before me.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, well, I don't want that peg.
Yeah.
So I'll just settle for because I think that lake's going to win. So even though it's not a very good peg, at least I'm on the right lake.
Right.
And he goes and wins off that peg. And it weren't till later on I thought, bloody hell, there were 2 pegs left in the bag and I missed that. Like Sam got it.
Okay. Right.
But
Yeah.
I didn't even want that peg. So because that lake fished better, that's the sort of luck element, is like this lake switched off and all of a sudden Jay nearly won it, Sam won it, like top 3 in the match come off that lake. Leading up to it, that lake was nowhere near as good.
Nowhere near as good.
For whatever reason, but like I'm not saying nobody had a chance on that lake, because they definitely did, but as it looks on paper, that's the lake you wanted to be on. Whereas for 2 months previous, nobody wanted that lake. So that's the thing, is like, that's what I'm on about when I say luck.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Like, you've got to be given that chance, but then when you get the chance, you've got to take it. And that's, you know, that's obviously where the skill comes in then.
Yeah, definitely. I can't think of one.
You let me down, Ant.
Ridge, you put me on the spot there. So it's not about me. It's all about main man here, isn't it, the bagger? I can't think of it. I don't have much luck other than when I do that fly last week.
I think the last 3 matches I've filmed with you, you've actually like named your peg.
I do like naming my peg, but it's not very.
Or not. Go back to Birch House where you've named your peg, but you named the wrong one.
Oh yeah. This peg, peg 28 it was. I'm like, right, I want peg 28, peg 28, peg 28. Put my hand in the bag. Out comes 28, and James was like, no, you better. It wasn't 28, it's 26. I'm like, oh, it's close enough to it, but it was actually a decent peg in the end. It was all right.
Yeah. Did a bit of qualifying off it.
Oh yeah, that was all right. But yeah.
Well, what do you reckon? Like, what match stands out then as your best, like, performance-wise?
Oh, I've got to go official, mate. I've got to, because it was the first time that obviously there'd ever been a semi-final, and then obviously we didn't know whether they were getting through to the final. But then it's got to do it all over again in the final.
Well, you're the only person in the world who's ever won Fisher without qualifying.
Without actually winning the qualifier, because Ben Fish won it, and they had 2 qualifiers at Partridge. Remember when I do 101 on Covey 5? Ben Fish won the qualifier, but 2 went through.
Yeah, they did a few of those, didn't they? Bigger matches.
Just got put back in.
Yeah, that. Oh. He won without qualifying. He just got put back in, didn't he? Because he won it.
What?
He didn't have to qualify the second year he won it, did he?
Christian doesn't have to this year, does he?
No, he's straight back in it again. Yeah, he won better against him, would he, on there?
He's just ruined my fact, hasn't he?
He could keep going on and on and on if he carries on there and all, the way he is.
Fucking unreal, man. He could easily win 2 or 3 on the track.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, no, that was the worst match in the world ever. That semi-final was horrendous. Especially having someone like him behind me tying hooks.
Actually,
Feed! Stop moving it! That's all I heard all day.
Do you really want him tying your hooks after what you've seen today?
Actually, no. No, not anymore. Definitely not. But yeah, what about you, Richard? You had like luck with big carps and things like that. And
There's a lot that you look back on, like that when I qualified Fisher at Coleman's, because that's my go-to match.
Yeah.
You look at like how hard because you know it's solid early on, and how hard you pull in, and especially the kit. That was when Jamie had persuaded us to use silly like 012 for proper carp, and using that. I think it was that yellow map elastic, that 5 to 8. You're like, why the hell are you using that? But you're like proper pulling. You look back and you think any one of those fish ping off, that's lost you the match, like instantly. And I suppose there's so many in hindsight. You can either say it's luck, it's skill, or stuff goes for you and against you. But
well, the other thing as well, the luck side of it, is that the conditions were right, so the fish were on the top. If you got there and it's hammering down with rain, you ain't got them muggers. So that's the luck.
Oh no, the peg eater he would have done.
Oh, would you? They'll come up in the rain still, yeah.
There's a time of year on there that it was always ridiculous. Like if it was the first week that they started, and that normally coincided.
While the water's still clear and you can see them all.
Yeah, it's just.
But look, even the weather, that comes down to luck.
Oh mate, 100%.
You know, look at the festival last week. If you had that wind in your face on that other bank on Lake 2, you couldn't fish a waggler, so you couldn't fish the way to catch the fish. So conditions are massive. If it's windy, straight away you can half your weight.
Just all went for us, innit? The right rotation on the right days with the weather.
With the right wind, you know, and that's the thing, like you can go and conditions could be that luck side of it.
Yeah. But the same thing, I suppose you can argue it either way, can't you? Because obviously the more you fish, the more you can kind of preempt the stuff that's going to happen, be it weather and knowing that you're going to be wasting your time doing this, wasting yourself
ready for it.
And I suppose that is where the experience comes into it, that you can keep putting as much as possible in your favour. Obviously, there's things that you're never going to control and never going to predict, but so much of that probably when you're on the bank 5 days a week or whatever it is, that you can like read into it a bit more and you're not making them silly decisions that people might.
Oh no, Richard, I still make those silly decisions, don't you worry about that.
Filling it in and blowing your peg in about 3 seconds.
Yes, welcome to my world.
So, yeah, don't know where that went really.
That's good, I like that.
Sort of bit of skill, bit of luck involved.
Yeah.
But I suppose that's what makes fishing like unique, isn't it?
It is, nothing like it. Wild animals at the end of the day. Not a sport like it to kick you in the whatsits.
It's literally picking the worst thing, isn't it? Like making life as difficult as possible for yourself.
Yes, but wouldn't change it.
I have to work with fish and you.
Yeah, well, yeah. yeah, sorry Rich. I'm not going to change. Fish might change, I won't, sorry.